Hello there, I'm Evelyn Gallardo, and I'm the author of the upcoming book Voices from the Mist, The Last Days of Dian Fossey, as well as the founder of Be Your Own Hero. And thank you for joining me for this episode of Wonders of Rwanda. I just love Rwanda. And this episode is how I met President Paul Kagame at the Kwita Izina baby gorilla naming ceremony. Every year, the first week of September, Rwanda celebrates Kwita Izina when they name all of the baby gorillas born throughout the year. This follows a Rwandan family tradition of when the village gathers to help name their babies after they're born. So we attended Kwita Izina in 2017, where more than 20,000 people attended from all over the world. Amazing. One of the things I absolutely loved about Kwita Izina were these bamboo sculptures that they made of the different animals in Rwanda. Here's one of the gorillas. This bamboo sculpture is of an elephant, and actually elephants would show up sometimes up at Dian Fossey's research center at Karisoke. And wow, check out this sculpture of a rhino. Other than that huge, beautiful mountain gorilla, this lion is my favorite. Look at the detail, the mane. You can even see the tail with a little brush at the end. I love it. And now for the most fun of all, let the dancing begin.
No.
So while we were waiting for President Paul Kagame to arrive by helicopter, we were sitting there and there was an officer behind us in uniform. And he leans in and he starts asking us questions like, oh, is this your first time in Rwanda? No. When were you here? Well, let's see, we were here in 1985. So long ago? Did you see the gorillas? Ah, yes, we saw the gorillas. Then he asked, which gorilla group did you see? And so I said, well, we stayed with Dian Fossey, who was a friend of ours up at Karisoke, so we saw her study groups. And he said, what did you think about the gorillas? And I said, we fell in love with the mountain gorillas. We even went home back to California and held some fundraisers to help fund an anti-poaching patrol up at Karisoke. And so he just got kind of quiet, and then he said, will you excuse me for 5 minutes? I'll return. I said, okay. I don't know why he's asking me to excuse him. So he shows up like 10 minutes later and he leans forward and he said, the President, Paul Kagame, has heard about you being friends with Dian and helping the mountain gorillas, and he would like to meet you. Is that all right? Of course, we'd be honored. And that's how we got to meet President Paul Kagame. So at the beginning of President Paul Kagame's speech, I was really impressed because he turned to the audience and he said to the Rwandans, he said, if you have someone, a guest who is sitting near you who you know does not understand Kinyarwanda, will you please translate for them? President Paul Kagame then proceeded to tell us a story, and he prefaced it by saying, I've never told this story to anyone, so all of you here today are hearing it for the first time. So the first time I went to see the gorillas, I took a friend with me, a guest, and so the tracker is telling us all the rules. He says, in case you get charged by a gorilla, you have to drop down on the ground, be very humble, don't look at him, and just be quiet. That's what you need to do. And so as it turned out, they did get charged by a gorilla. So President Kagame is down there with his friend and doing everything he was being told, not talking, not looking. And his friend looks at him and he says, "Can't you just tell that gorilla that you're the president of Rwanda?" Luckily, on this day, I'd hired a professional photographer. And so when I heard that the president wanted to meet us, I didn't know if it was true or not, but I saw Cyril, our photographer, leaving with the press corps to get to the next location where the president was going to be. So I caught up with him and I said, "Look, Cyril, I don't know if this is real or not, but somebody told us that the president wants to meet us and that he would show us where to stand when the time came. So can you stay for that?" Cyril says, "Of course." So anyway, the same guy motions us over, shows us where to stand, and sure enough, here comes President Paul Kagame, and he's going to shake our hand. And I wanted to make sure Cyril was in the spot and he was going to catch it, so I looked over at him, and when I saw him, I gave him a wink, and Cyril caught that wink. And next thing you know, we're meeting the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Wonders of Rwanda. I really hope you liked it, and if you did, please share it with your friends.